Hi again. This is kind of a part 2 video of the one that I did with the multiple color wash. This is going to be the back side of the wings of my little butterflies that I'm going to make. So I'm back with my 300-pound Arches watercolor paper, and I'm going to get it wet just like I did the last one. So I'm going to spray it all down just to make it quicker. Spray down some water onto my paper, try to get it kind of even, but it's kind of hard when you're spraying it, but get a lot of water on there, then you can even it out. So I'm just spraying it and letting some of that moisture soak right on in to my paper. My paper is 100% cotton, so it absorbs a lot of water, and it's 300 pounds, so the 300-pound paper can take a lot of water. And I am going to use my big huge quill here. This is made by Silver Atelier Golden Taklon Quill. And I like this quill because it holds just tons and tons of water. So I'm just going to even my water out. I'm going to go in every direction and try to get it all evenly on my paper all the way to the edges. I'm painting on a watercolor block which is glued on 4 sides of the paper, so you can, it holds it down for you so you don't have to put the tape around the edges to hold it nice and flat. I'm just dipping my big old brush in some more water, and I'm going to go up and down and back and forth like this. And then I'm going to also come this way, the opposite direction, and just really get a lot of water on there, nice and even. And my paper is all super shiny with water. Now you can see I've put paper towels all around me because I'm going to pour this paint on here, and it's going to get messy, I guarantee ya. But what I'm going to do is I've already prepared some of my violet paint here. This is called Bright Clear Violet, and you can see the consistency. When I turn the cup, you can kind of see it's transparent. So what I'm trying to do is make a back side of my butterflies. So this is the paper that we made in the last video, and this has that bright clear violet in it. And I also splattered just a little bit of this pink that's in my little metallic set here. So I did this one right here, this little pink guy right there, that pale pink. So I'm going to put that in here too. So I got my paper all wet, and when I pick it up, it looks nice and even. I don't see any puddles running. So I'm ready to do this, and it's going to be messy. Now I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking I probably don't have enough paint in there. A lot of times when I do this, I'll just squeeze it right out of a tube, but I'm just taking my big quill, and I've got some paint that I've mixed with water, made a little puddle of it. I'm going to try to get it into my little cup here, and then add a little bit more water because I want this pretty intense. I want enough to make it go over this whole paper. So I'm just going to add a little water here. Now I got more. And when I put it up on the side, you can see it's not super dark, but it's definitely purple. So I'm not even going to rinse my brush out, so I can use that if I need to. I'm going to have to move it a little bit, I'm sure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my paper, and I'm going to take this liquid, and I can kind of graduate it too, so some butterflies will have darker and some will lighter. But I'm going to pour it on just like that. Very fun. Fun to get messy. And then you can see I'm just tilting it. And a lot of it's on that paper towel, so you really want to get those paper towels. Tilting it the other way, tilting it up, watching it move. Put it back down. You see that? I'm all moving. So there's enough water under my paper here that it allows all of this liquid paint to float on top of the cotton watercolor paper, and that way I can move it around and just watch it flow. Just keep moving it, pick it up, and before you know it, it covers your entire sheet. I'm just watching it here. Whoops, I got the back of my page here. And let some of that excess go onto the paper towel. And I'm going to hold it now this way and let that flow until I have an even coating. Because in this instance, I want it to be even. But if you don't want it to be even, you can also add some other color to it in the same manner. Just pour it right on next to it and let them mix together. So leave some white paper, put another color on is what I'm saying. But I'm just going to tap it down here. You can see why I definitely needed to put that paper toweling on my table, because I would have puddles flowing off the edges, right? So I'm just keeping, so as long as you can see that shine on your paper, your paint can still move. So once you get it exactly how you want it, then you can just lie it flat and let it settle in and let it dry. So I'm just holding it until I got a nice even wash. So there you go, that's a poured wash, and that's how you do it. So you can see, I mean, the paper's curved a little bit because it's all wet. Just a tiny bit, it kind of puffs up. I knocked it off the edges, and now I'm going to take all of this mess and kind of mop it all up and lay my paint down, my paper down here. Look at that. It's a mess. And of course, I picked purple, which is darker. You definitely can see it. But that's why I have a table that I just got at the thrift shop then for a few dollars. It had all kinds of chips and stuff, but it's great for me to paint on, because I don't care if I mess it up too much. Yeah. Okay, so it's a little darker here at the edge line. So I could take my paper towel and just kind of go along that glue line and just soak it up. But you know, I'm not going to go exactly right to the edges because I'm not going to want that flat edge anywhere. So that's okay. We're not worried about it. And now I'm going to let it dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to try and mix me up a nice big well of this pink. So it's going to take me a while. So that'll let the paper dry in the meantime. So, all right, I'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and it has had a chance to dry a lot, but it's not completely dry. It's still damp. So what I want to do now is put a little bit, here's my metallic pink that I mixed up in here. So that came from my set here, and it's this middle one, and as you can see, I've used most of it up. So what I did is I took a palette knife and I wet it first so that it would become more like a clay. And then I dug some of it out and I put it in my little cup and added water. So that now I have a cup full of this shimmery pink violet-y color. And I was thinking, maybe just putting some alcohol on it now, because it is kind of damp yet, but it's not wet. And I don't know if we have enough pigment on here for it to do anything. So what it does is the surface tension, it's kind of like the blooms, you know, where it'll spread. But the alcohol has a different surface tension than water. So, you know, it's a little bit different effect, but you can also do this with water. But I'm not seeing it happen too much, but I have kind of like a little blotchy look. That's pretty too. I like that. So we won't worry about getting too much of the alcohol effect on this side was we did get it pretty nicely in this paper here. So you can see like right here, which is the top of my butterfly wings. And then this is going to be the back side. Okay, so I have my paper. It's still just a little damp, but that's okay for what we're going to be doing. And then I have my metallic, kind of rosy purple, orchidy color. I love that orchid color. And I can do the same thing, like do a wash over it, a poured wash like we did on this one, or I can add some little effects with it. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to play a little bit with it. And I'm looking in my art supplies. I'm sorry I didn't get this out prior to talking to you guys, but I was looking for a little thing called a pipe pipette. Okay, here it is. This is it here. And you know, it's kind of makes like an eyedropper. You squeeze it and it sucks it in. So stir this up a little bit. And I think I'm going to just kind of do random, you know, just kind of. There, see, it sucked it in. And I'm just going to do some little streaky things. Some little dots, whatever it wants to do. I just think that I don't want it to be totally even, but I do want it to be all over, because I'm going to add details to these wings after they are a butterfly wing. So right now it's paper. So we're just making paper to play with. And then I can use my imagination and, you know, you have to do that as sound effect. I can use my imagination and draw little dots and lines in my wings. Suck up a little here and put it over here. I can even take the tip of my pipette or whatever, and then now come back and make some little marks with it. So see where this is scratching into the paper, it makes little lines. See that? Just something a little more interesting to put in there. I don't know how they'll apply to my wing because it's all an experiment, but that's kind of fun, isn't it? To experiment and see what'll happen, what if. So this goes with, you know, I have my Creative Watercolor Art Club group on Facebook, which you're welcome to join. And it's just starting, so it's a great time to get into that. And we are talking about curiosity and experimenting, and you know how that helps us in our art practice. And that's what we're doing here. So it looks like a giant mess, but I'm hopeful that it is going to be very cool. Very cool. So that's kind of neat. And I got that metallic-y, I got some scratchies in there, got some texture. And now I'm just moving it around to get more of that randomness. I'm tap it right down on my table. See that? How it's moving that, kind of giving you a marbly effect. Tapping it down. Like that. Okay, so now it will have a little bit of that lustery, violet-y color in the back side of the wings, and also some marks I've made in there. Very fun. Okay, so we're just going to let that dry, and it's going to be very, very pretty with a little bit of metallic sheen on there. And I'm going to add more when I make it into wings. So, all right, so that's how we did that side. So now you've kind of seen how I do a poured wash. And then I've added some marks to it to make it a little more interesting for the project that I'm doing. Also, I wanted to show you really quick. I'm going to set this right in those puddles. On the page that I did, this one here in the previous video, there we go. Let's go this way. In this one, this would be a very beautiful background for a watercolor floral kind of wildflower painting. Because as I'm looking into these little section. So here's my splatter of a blue, but then I've got these random little blooms that came from the alcohol, and look what that did. It kind of made a flower in there. I can see flowers. I can see flowers all over the place in here. Here's a nice flower. And then also these pretty greens and these little splatters remind me of snapdragons, and so I've got kind of like these bigger flowers and snapdragons in here. I'm tempted to use this page for a wildflower painting, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it because I would want to work on my butterflies and see how they turn out with you. So I'll keep you posted, and you can make them along with me if you want. So the next step will be to cut out a pattern for the wings. So I have to draw that, and then I'll have a pattern for my wings. But there's that, and then there's the other side of it, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to do one. Okay, we'll talk to you in the next video, and I'll keep you up to date on this process. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and until we meet again, please have a happy day, have peace and love, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.